Good day, my name is Bluesuit and today I'll be going over my review of the supernatural turn-based western strategy RPG known as Hard West 2. In Hard West 2, you take control of a band of Wild West gunslingers as you uncover the mysteries surrounding a renegade ghost train that has transformed rural Oregon into a demon-infested hellscape. The story in Hard West 2 is one of the game's brightest features, but remains mostly skippable for players seeking to jump right into the action. And while still taking place in the same world as Hard West 1, is a completely unrelated story. At the start of the game, you're introduced to most of the playable characters, and while I definitely enjoyed some more than others, the world and supporting cast really made Hard West 2 a fun place to explore. Over a roughly 25-hour campaign, each of the game's acts has a different open world for you to complete side quests, learn about your companions, and upgrade your posse. Getting around can be a little slow at first, but fortunately you can move around in a zoomed out map mode and you can speed up the game by up to ×4, a feature that also handily exists in battles. I was surprised by how much actual exploration there was in between missions too. Uncovering new bits of the fog of war often led to extra cash, new weapons, or an increased relationship score with my compatriots. A score that grew and gave my teammates powerful new abilities while also unlocking new segments of their backstories. Hard West 2's combat tries really hard to be unique by throwing interesting game mechanics at players and scrapping certain time-tested genre staples. Overall, this trade-off succeeds in making the game stand out amongst the crowd, but tactics veterans may feel themselves disadvantaged without being able to lean on core mechanics like Overwatch and stealth. On the plus side though, there are several systems that Hard West 2 utilizes that make up for it, and the first are ricochets. Most pistols and rifles in the game can utilize the environment to make ricochet trick shots that can circumvent an enemy's cover. So if someone would normally be unhittable, you might be able to bank a shot off the old cast iron hanging behind them. It's admittedly a bit Looney Tunes, but once you start getting into some of the more complicated levels, it becomes really challenging to keep track of not only the enemies, but where all the ricochet points are that could be used by you or them. The second and even bigger mechanic that Hard West 2 has is called bravado. In fights, each character has 3 action points, and moving, shooting, and using items and skills all use them. However, when you kill an enemy, they are all reset for the character who did the killing. And as a side note, here's where I think the demo is pretty flawed if you played it, because in the early game you can use this mechanic to wipe out the entire level before they've even had a chance to draw their guns, and it's really not indicative of Hard West 2's gameplay overall. Yes, most of the game is you trying to set up characters to chain their bravados to kill as many enemies as you can in each turn, but it quickly becomes much more balanced as enemies become stronger and have their own special skills. That being said though, because bravado is so strong and your enemies have to be so strong to balance it out, it becomes devastating when you make a mistake. Playing on normal mode, I was saving and loading a lot more than I thought I should for this, and an undo button would have undoubtedly saved me a lot of time. The issue for me was less about making a tactical error though, and more about not being able to make the right choice with the information I had. Hard West 2's cover system often feels pretty inconsistent, and a lot of the time the game doesn't tell you what your options are going to be after you move into position. So you're going to find yourself saving and then moving into cover hoping you can see your enemy from there, and if you can't, it's off to another load screen. There are other issues like how your character can't stand on stairs or having enemies spawn right next to you, but these really just circle back to how each fight teeters on the edge of a knife, and having even just a small mistake can cost you a lot. These issues aside though, when you get combat down, it's super satisfying when one kill leads to another and you just have the perfect fight, and a lot of that comes down to how you build your team. Probably the most fun thing about Hard West 2 is mixing and matching gear and playing cards on your team to squeeze the most amount of death out of them that you can. In combat, each of your allies has 2 weapon slots, which they can freely swap between at any time. As well, they can equip dynamite, healing items, or trinkets, and they each have one unique supernatural ability that sets them apart. These unique abilities will often be the deciding factor in which characters you choose to use, and some levels will be significantly easier if you take the right team combo with you. Lastly, characters can equip playing cards to increase their combat capabilities. After almost every mission, you'll earn one of 26 available playing cards, and each character has a long list of passive abilities that get unlocked based on how you equip them. So if you equip a 3 of a kind, then the first few abilities will get unlocked, but if you equip a Royal Flush, then almost all of them will become available. And because you're constantly earning new cards and new weapons after every mission, it's really addicting testing out new builds and card combinations to maximize your effectiveness. You can pick up Hard West 2 when it launches today for $30, but its real value falls a bit shy of that. It definitely takes some risks as a tactical RPG, and in a lot of ways it succeeds as a memorable and unique entry in the genre with a great world, high stakes action, and an addicting loot system. That being said though, there are several issues that are going to frustrate players and detract from the overall experience. So I'm valuing Hard West 2 at $24, and I definitely do recommend it to fans of the genre who are looking to try something really unique. I hope you enjoyed this review of Hard West 2. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you thought about it. Until next time.